I discovered how my best friend's parents really felt about mine, so I ghosted her.
Ooh, awkward.
I, 26 female, have been friends with Leslie, 23 female, for over 10 years. To give some background, we met abroad, what's her name, when I was asked to show her family around our school since we spoke the same language and they did not know English at the time. There's obviously an age gap here, but even though we were not in the same grade, our families got close, as expat families often do. By the way, this comes from user selectaccident4211, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily because we don't have all the answers. We only know what we know, so let us know what you know down in the comments. Our parents became friends and built a wider network of families both inside and outside the school, and a small community was formed. Even after we moved to different countries, they stayed in touch and met up every summer back home. Leslie and I became truly close in college. We studied on different continents, so WhatsApp catch-ups became our thing. Over time, we became best friends. We went through breakups, new relationships, moves, and major life changes together. When my father passed away, she called me every day for a month just to check in. I love her deeply for that. After my father's passing, my family went through an extremely dark and traumatic period, not only because of the grief, but also because there were serious behind-the-scenes issues that caused a lot of damage. Trust was lost, bridges were burned, and we sacrificed 2 years trying to keep things from completely falling apart. During all of this, Leslie supported me constantly from wherever she was. My mom also kept Leslie's mom updated because they were close too. Here is where things got messy. When things started to calm down, a mutual family friend named Rhea, who is like a sister to both our mothers, pulled my mom aside during one of her visits. She told my mom that she needed to stop sharing details with Leslie's mom. Rhea said that one night, Leslie's parents were doing some drinking at her house and started saying disturbing things about my family. According to Rhea, Leslie's father, with her mother agreeing, said my mom was making things up, playing the victim, exploitive, money-hungry, and more. They criticized my parents' relationship and even said they expected the boat to sink, meaning our family and finances, after my dad passed away. They implied my mom was not capable and did not deserve what she has because she does not have a science degree like them. They spoke about her with open contempt. I know it can sound unbelievable, but Rhea had firsthand knowledge of what my family went through and knew it was real. We have no reason not to trust her. Telling my mom also came with risk, since it could have caused serious conflict in the friend group. There had also been a few signs that something was off with Leslie's mom even before all of this. At the time, I brushed them aside. For example, Leslie is in a relationship that both my mom and I already knew about because I had mentioned it to her. My mom loves Leslie too, yet her mother never brought it up to my mom. Instead, she shared it with other people, including Rhea. At the same time, she would ask my mom very personal questions about my relationship. She wanted details about my boyfriend, his career, his family, and even our activities. All of this happened while she fully pretended that Leslie had nothing going on in her own life. She even did this in front of Rhea. More generally, she often seemed judgmental or overly curious about my life. She questioned what I was doing, how I was acting, and why I was not working. Meanwhile, she rarely shared anything about herself to her kids. I also know she strongly dislikes Leslie's boyfriend. This was confirmed by both Rhea and comments Leslie had made in passing, though I do not think Leslie fully realizes how intense her mom's feelings about him really are. We have also tried to save Leslie from her mom's spirals in the past. It was general family stuff, but her mom can be controlling at times. When I found out everything Rhea told my mom, I completely shut down. I did not confront Leslie. Instead, I went no contact and basically ghosted her. Why? She didn't do anything.
Yeah, what?
It's her parents. It was not because I do not love her, but because I felt so betrayed that I could not function normally. My mind spiraled. I started rethinking everything, like whether she told her parents private things I shared, whether she contributed to their judgment, or whether she thought the same thing as them. I questioned how I could trust her at all anymore. I'm aware this is an avoidant pattern I have when I feel threatened. It is cold, unfair, and hurtful, and I'm working on it in therapy. Girl, you need to work on it in real life. That is too much awareness to have of the thing you're doing to your friend to not be like, and I shouldn't do it.
Agree. It's interesting that you're working on it in therapy, but you're just like, yep, this is just what needs to happen. I mean, maybe this story isn't after you have already resolved things in your mind or like made the right choices. Maybe you are truly just like, I know this is wrong and I can't stop it, and I'm just talking about it in therapy, but I just need to get it out. I need
Yeah.
to get out my issues, but I know it's a problem. Don't come for me. My therapist already has.
But when I hit a certain point, I shut down instead of dealing with confrontation. I've lost friendships this way before. I know it's wrong, but I have not yet figured out how to fix it. Leslie's tried to reach out. She is clearly hurt. I ignored her. Her mom also asks about me sometimes, and my mom has said that I'm still healing and need time. The truth is that I miss my friend and want to rebuild our relationship. I just don't know if it's possible after hearing what her parents said about my family. I also don't feel like I can tell her the real reason because it would expose Rhea and betray her trust. So am I the a-hole for ghosting her? And how do I fix this if I even can? Comment 1. You said it yourself. It's not fair to your friend. Her mom might be a terrible person, which has likely been awful for Leslie her whole life, but she has never once given you a reason to doubt her. Your worries are understandable but unfounded. Until you know Leslie has participated in the gossip, slander, judgment, you are the a-hole for treating her this way. You need to issue a huge apology. You need to share your feelings, not as excuses, but acknowledge that what you did was wrong, and ask her for forgiveness for hurting her. Find a way to set boundaries. Say your family heard something hurtful about them and that you can trace it but have decided to protect your privacy more with everyone. OP says, you're right. I don't have proof Leslie participated in any of it, and ghosting her wasn't the right response. I've been overwhelmed with everything, but that's not an excuse. I'm planning to reach out, apologize, and set boundaries around privacy going forward. Thank you. Comment 2 says no. She doesn't know if she can trust her. Leslie's mother probably questioned her daughter, and unintentionally she may have told her mother. She could write a letter, get it to her somehow, telling her she misses her, but going forward she has to take care of herself and her mother. A reply says so she can start the truth-telling. I had the most massive shock discovering that there's a rotten streak in my larger friend and family community that I had to take some time out from all of it for a little while. Someone has been viciously crap-talking and lie-spreading about me and my family. It was so incredibly painful. It took me a while first to process, then to rule out a couple people, including you. I'm sorry for how abrupt and silent I was while I figured out how to proceed. It may sound a little paranoid, and maybe it is, but I'm going to have to watch what I say to everyone for a while because the detail and topics were so violating, and I have no idea who is getting this information, let alone vomiting it out into the world. Then just be very, very vague. It got to you anonymously, but with details. You're correct. You're not interested in tracking down who the Good Samaritan is. You want whoever is poisoning the water to stop. Then she can resume the friendship, but at an info diet level. It may not thrive as it once seemed to, and at some point it will dawn on Leslie that she and her mother have had their security revoked, and it will dawn on her that people think it's them. All OP has to say is, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it, and continue with surface level information. If the penny drops and the family has a reckoning, it's good for the world at large. If it doesn't, at least the contagion has been contained. OP can work on making new good friends where she is, and Leslie will become an old friend she was once close to, but her extended family were a-holes. OP says this is genuinely one of the most helpful comments I've read. Thank you. I've been so overwhelmed that I couldn't even figure where to start, let alone say, and you basically laid out a roadmap. The info diet approach actually makes a lot of sense as a way to protect myself while still being fair to Leslie. I'm saving this and I'm going to reach out soon. Thank you again for the care you put into it. And there is an edit. I guess we're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, if you are going to continue the friendship and continue passing information with Leslie's mom, then, like, yeah, I guess you definitely want to limit that information.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
like, we still don't really know how Leslie's mom found out about all this stuff. Might not have even been Leslie. It could have been literally anybody. It could have literally been the person who told you. It could be literally anyone.
Yeah, also, who is that anonymous person that told you? That's
It's
weird.
like they're also friend, but it's like, I think OP was working from a baseline of like, yeah, well, it probably wasn't Rhea because like then like Rhea would be putting like herself in a weird position by letting us know that she knows that they said. And it's like, I think you might be overlooking the fact that Rhea might just love the game. game, you know?
I mean, if anyone is telling you this information anonymously, I feel like they're gonna want to start some drama. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, they're like, hey, you didn't hear this from me. Thank you for the feedback and for being kind, even with the hard to hear parts. I wanted to clarify a few things based on the comments. Why are Rhea and my mom still in contact with Leslie's mom? Rhea lives abroad, what's her name, and when she visits, she makes the rounds with everyone, so suddenly cutting contact would raise alarms and could lead to confrontation. My mom has mostly pulled away. Contact is limited to occasional group messages like birthdays and holidays and memes in a group chat or brief meetups when Rhea is in town. Did Rhea stick up for us? Yes. She told us she pushed back during those conversations. The tipsy one was the worst, but Leslie's father is extremely stubborn and she eventually disengaged to avoid a bigger blowout. Do I know if Leslie shared private things about me with her parents? I don't know exactly how much she shared, but I assume some things were since we're both close with our moms. I've also noticed moments where Leslie's mom seemed to know more than my mom had told her, but I shared things too with my mom, yes. I've also spoken to my mom about Leslie at times. I usually ask Leslie for permission before sharing anything big, but I'm aware I'm not completely innocent here. Does Leslie know her parents said these things? I genuinely don't know if she knows, and to be clear, I'm not blaming Leslie for what her parents said. My hurt and anger is directed at her parents, not her. That's clear to me now. I thought that was clear the whole time.
yeah, what? You're just figuring that out, OP? You told us that.
I think we need to move out of Science Town and have maybe like, a little sabbatical in self-reflectionville.
Yeah,
Introspection-opolis.
right.
It's possible she's heard some of these opinions at home, but I have no proof, and many people are right that without proof, I can't assume so. Why haven't I told Leslie directly? I'm not supposed to know about this conversation. Rhea told my mom in confidence, and I don't want to breach that trust or put words in anyone's mouth. I also don't want to create more damage by dragging her parents into it directly, since that could permanently complicate things for her. Why did I ghost? After everything my family's been through, including other betrayals involving family, at the first sign of betrayal, I shut down and defaulted to an avoidant response. That's not an excuse. I understand ghosting was unfair and I should have communicated. And by the way, I want to communicate to you that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. Leslie was one of the few people I didn't have to filter myself with. I want things to go back to how they were, but right now my brain is struggling to separate her from what I learned about her parents. I miss my friend, and I'm planning to reach out soon to apologize for disappearing and explain that I pulled back because I was overwhelmed and hurt without dragging her parents into it. Thanks for the ideas on how to reach out and what to say. Anyways, as someone said, it could be the first step to healing my pattern, and I'm choosing to see it that way. And that's the end of that story.
Well, good.
Yes, but we have another one coming right up.
I failed to prioritize my friend during my father's passing, and it made her act out.
I don't think any part of that was correct, actually.
Almost 2 months before the wedding, my father was admitted to the hospital. For a little context, my parents are divorced, and my dad was like my best friend. He had a few strange symptoms that weren't getting better, and finally, his doctor recommended that he admitted. By the way, this comes from Kage, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in these situations, so let us know what you would do in the comments. For a month and a half, I was at the hospital non-stop. They couldn't figure out what was going on with my dad, and he was getting worse. I work a full-time job, and we were in the final month before the wedding, so life was definitely chaotic, to say the least. My maid of honor and I normally text pretty frequently throughout the day, and I know I began texting less. I would still give her updates on my dad, but her texts weren't always the most supportive, and sometimes made me feel worse about what was going on. I don't hold this against her, because it's a messy situation, and no one will have the right words to say. We did learn that my dad had cancer, specifically multiple myeloma. He took an awful turn for the worse when the cancer deposited into his brain. It was like he just wasn't there anymore, and I suddenly was in charge of every medical decision. I know I really stopped texting her at this point, but it was all so overwhelming. He passed 2 weeks before the wedding. I'm still absolutely heartbroken and probably messed up from the whole experience. We decided to still have the wedding, and those 2 weeks feel like a weird fever dream. We had a small, close family-only burial service and planned to have a memorial service after the wedding. During these 2 weeks, I had 2 days where some of my bridal party came to help with crafts and decor. My maid of honor mixed up the dates and asked if she could come another day that didn't work for me. Then she asked if we could sit down and talk. I told her that I would let her know, but that I wasn't sure if I had time as things were just so crazy. She told me that she understood and that she'd see me at rehearsal. She hosted the bridal party at her parents' house the night before the wedding. Her parents live about 10 minutes from the venue and are some of the kindest, sweetest humans I've ever met. Another bridesmaid drove me, so we didn't have to worry about my car being anywhere, and I met my maid of honor at her parents' house. As soon as we get to the door, I could tell she was off. She didn't seem excited to see us and was very reserved and distant. I'm not trying to put too many of my opinions in this because that's not the point of this post, but it was the first time she'd seen me since my dad passed. I guess I just expected a lot of warmth, love, and support, so it threw me off. That's what you should expect from your friend.
This is your maid of honor, and she hadn't seen you at all since your dad passed away 2 weeks ago?
And she's not gonna, like, give you a hug or anything. Has she talked to you at all about the passing, or is it just bride stuff that she's texting you about?
Yeah, I don't know. This seems ridiculous. If someone was your actual friend, I think they'd be a little more, present if they're aware of all this stuff going on.
Definitely.
Unless, like, well, I don't know. I just don't feel like. I bet it's going to be I was supposed to be your maid of honor, and it doesn't really feel like you've made any space for me. And it's like, actually, you're supposed to be the one doing stuff. You're on point. You're the maid of honor.
I have a feeling it's going to go exactly like that. We talked to the house for a while before heading off to rehearsal, and she didn't mention anything about being upset. I don't want to be nitpicking every detail, so I'll be brief about rehearsal and the wedding. She was very quiet and reserved. She is normally a very excited and loud personality, and she's a big party animal, so everyone took notice of her different attitude. It was the same attitude that she had while wedding dress shopping, during which she was upset for different reasons. To be honest, if I didn't have the rest of the bridal party, I don't think I would have survived the morning. I was trying so hard not to think about the fact that my dad wouldn't be at my wedding and not to dwell on all the awful things that happened over the last month. If it was just me and my maid of honor all morning, I would have drowned. She didn't do anything atrocious and didn't say anything over the line, but there just wasn't much love or support there, and it really hurt me. Fast forward a few weeks, and we had the memorial service. She asked again if we could chat before the memorial service. At this point, I was frustrated. I understand it's important to talk through issues, but with the way she had been acting, it felt like her issues were more important than anything else that I was going through. I don't want to ignore her, but I couldn't handle it. My life was in pieces, and it felt like she didn't get it, so I asked if we could talk after. She did still come to his memorial and left as soon as the pastor's sermon ended. During the same month as the memorial, my husband and I had to clean out my dad's apartment. We spent every weekend there and our entire Thanksgiving vacation from work emptying it out. I ended up missing my maid of honor's birthday party with family because it fell during this long weekend. I apologized afterwards, but I am guilty of assuming that she would probably have more fun without me there anyway. I would have had a hard time celebrating her and didn't want to hurt her further. When I apologized, it sparked a small text conversation that grew into larger paragraphs. The paragraphs. Best part of texting.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody loves the essay.
Yes.
The text essay.
Yes, indeed. I could tell I was getting frustrated and more aggressive in my texts, so I asked if instead she would like to call. I still don't think I was ready for the call, but I couldn't keep leaving her in the dark. We talked on the phone for about an hour, with most of the conversation focusing on how I wasn't communicating very well. I apologized several times, and I had even apologized in my texts while I was at the hospital. I did tell her that if I went through that exact situation again, I probably wouldn't be able to text more often because I was focused on being at the hospital with my dad. She said that this didn't have anything to do with my dad. I'm not sure what I'm missing, but I told her that I wasn't upset with her at all until she had her strange attitude at the wedding. I told her she seemed upset the entire day and I didn't think that was fair. She said she wasn't upset, but then I don't understand why we spent so much time talking about how I wasn't communicating well. I don't want to repeat the entire hour-long phone conversation because this is already too long, but it felt like we were going in circles. She ended the phone call by asking if we could take time to reflect and discuss again in the future. Told her that that was fine, but that my feelings probably weren't changing, so to just let me know when she was ready to talk. A few weeks went by and I received a letter in the mail from her. We're going from texting to texting paragraphs to phone call to mailing letters.
We're going to go all the way back to the Pony Express at this point.
That's insane.
Is that I specifically sent you a messenger pigeon.
Yeah.
And there's a little note on there written in a language no one knows anymore.
Right. Next up is a singing telegram.
I sent you a smoke signal.
Yes, there you go. Oh my gosh, this letter was 4 aggressive pages typed out and printed of her defending herself and arguing about how she wasn't upset and how pleasant she was that day. She went on about how dare I say such things. There were several things I've never even said, like that she ruined the wedding, which she sent paragraphs arguing against. There was nothing in the letter about wanting to work through anything or owning up to anything, just 4 pages of how this is my fault, I guess. And by the way, it would be your fault if you didn't listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, because it's so easy. You just gotta search OK Storytime.
Yeah. Unless somebody, like locks up your thumbs and your fingers, in a little box.
I guess. Then I guess I'll forgive you. I am beyond frustrated. I get so angry thinking about all of this because she's supposed to be my best friend. I keep thinking about how I would treat her if she lost a parent, and I just don't understand. Should I have prioritized her more? Did I expect too much from her? I'm the kind of person who seeks resolution, and I just don't think we'll ever find one. And there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, does your friend, using the expression loosely, have main character syndrome? It sounds like she's mad that you didn't prioritize her over all the other stuff going on in your life. You're not the a-hole. You were going through some huge stuff and needed to prioritize yourself. Comment number 2 says, not the a-hole. Why is your friend making your grief about her? You had more than one person point out that she was being different at your wedding. So something tells me that she's trying to Darvo you to make herself feel better.
It's like deflect, avoid, reverse victim, and offender or something.
Okay.
It's close to that. Basically, she's trying to be like, oh, me? Actually, no, you. And it was all your fault that this happened.
And it's interesting that she said, like, this has nothing to do with your dad. When it's like, well, yes, it does, because that's what I was doing. So he is involved. You probably didn't mean anything like against my dad, but like it absolutely does involve him because he was a big part of my life at that time. Comment number 3 says, not the a-hole. Obviously you had a lot to deal with. It kind of sounds like she didn't know what to do for you, so she chose to focus on other things less important to you at the time. When you didn't respond, she felt left out. But here's the thing, whether she realizes it or not, she made it about her. Wanting you to communicate more to celebrate her birthday because, hey, she's there for your wedding is selfish. Perhaps she has never lost anyone close. Perhaps she has never experienced immeasurable grief. At the end of the day, a true friend would offer grace at this time. Maybe you just need a break to decide how to move forward or not. And that's the end of that story.
Yeah, I think moving forward, we should maybe not be super cool with this lady who, didn't even be like, oh, how are you after your dad passed?
Yeah.
She was just kind of like, dang, that sucks. But we're all that's going to happen to all of us one day.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that makes me feel even worse. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like, because you've already tried talking to her.
She feels like the kind of person who'd be like, well, like, I know that your dad passed away, but it's like, there's problems all over the world. And then and I'll list 3 of them right here. So maybe think about that.
Like, everyone's going through things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dealing with my own stuff.
It's like, wow, thank you. I'm going to just go, I don't know, jump in the river.
Right.
My friend accused me of excluding her, and I lost my cool.
Maybe I wanted to exclude you. Is that so bad?
Hi, everyone. I, 23 female, had a fight with one of my best friends, 22 female, around 4 weeks ago. We haven't talked since, and she's blocked me everywhere because she claims I don't want her to hang out with others. We'll call her Lena. By the way, this comes from user Mine is Sloot. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers to life's problems. We only know what we know. So let us know what you know if you know things we don't know in the comments below. We've known each other for 2.5 years, 2.5 men, Charlie Sheen. We met at our university and we're in the same class. We instantly clicked. The first New Year's Eve we had since we'd met, she introduced me to her friends from the city. They're probably around our age who go to the bar almost every Friday and Saturday. They're a big group and I grew a little close to some of them, eventually becoming fully part of the group. At first, I wouldn't go see them if Lena wasn't there, but I quickly began to go out even when she didn't want to. One of the guys from the group is a really close friend of hers. We'll call him Matt. Lena, Matt, and I have a group chat on Instagram called Besties, where he basically invites us to go out every now and then. Now, we don't really need invitations to hang out with the group. You're coming? Great. You can't make it? Whatever. It's fine. We always go to the same bar because the bartenders are our friends, so it's basically the same place, same time, every weekend. When Lena had a boyfriend for 6 months, she'd refuse to go out 90% of the time. Either she was with her boyfriend or she couldn't afford her drink, so she wouldn't come. So Matt stopped asking in the group chat and just asked me to go out. Whenever that happened, I'd ask him, "What about Lena? Did you invite her?" And he'd say, "No, that she had no say anyway because she didn't have the money." That resonated with me and I didn't push. But Matt, for some reason, would always send a message in the group chat saying something like, "Lena, where are you?" when he didn't invite her in the first place. I always told him it wasn't a nice thing to do. Lena and I debated a lot about various things, but we always said we liked having deep conversations together because we knew how to argue and we loved learning new ways of thinking and understanding each other's point of view. She told me a few times about Matt's actions, sending a "where you at" when she wasn't invited. We both agreed it was rude. She said she even reconsidered their friendship because of this. She also said she was the only one who ever asked to hang out outside of bars and booze-related activities, and that she was tired of it. I couldn't agree more, and I asked her if she wanted me to say something to Matt, since he was probably clueless about how she felt. She told me she didn't want me to intervene and that he should notice it by himself, and if not, then good riddance. After about 6 months, she broke up with her boyfriend. In mid-October, that was the last time we both hung out with the group to celebrate 2 birthdays. We both didn't go out after that until mid-December when Matt asked in the group chat if we wanted to go out. I responded and said I was down for it, and I noticed Lena hadn't read the text. I thought that since she didn't want to talk to Matt anymore, she ignored the message instead of leaving it on read. I went, and it was a fun night at the bar. After about 2 months, I got all the tea about what had happened. At some point, I told a friend that I unfortunately didn't have any tea because I never get into beef with anyone. I might have jinxed myself with this one. The argument happened through text at 2 a.m. I had just gotten home and wanted to spill the tea, so I texted her. All she replied was, "I didn't know you guys were out." I told her that Matt sent it in the group chat, and she told me she had left the group. I didn't know, and Matt didn't either. Well, shouldn't you? Because wasn't she dating? Was Matt not her boyfriend? No, Matt wasn't her boyfriend.
No.
Who was her boyfriend? It was
Separate
a different
guy.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
Different guy, totally.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't know, and Matt didn't either, because an Instagram update made it so you don't know when someone leaves a group chat anymore. She said she had told me about it before, but I didn't remember. I can't remember everything she does, especially on social media, because I have my own stuff to handle. I asked her why she was mad that she didn't know about it when she left the group chat, and she jumped right into another argument. She talked about Matt's behavior and how I knew she felt bad about it. We kept going back and forth, and I tried to end the conversation 2 or 3 times because it kept escalating. I was starting to get offended too. She kept saying that I hurt her feelings and that I should have done something. She said that whenever Matt was going to text her, "Where you at?" I should have told her beforehand, as if I'm omniscient, as if I knew whenever Matt was going to do that stupid thing. She said I was the problem because she was mad at me for not inviting her. I know where she's coming from, and I understand her feelings and how she could feel in this situation. I also understand that I didn't do what was right. I should have invited her even if I assumed she would refuse. You never know, and it feels good to be acknowledged. So I apologized, and I gave a sincere apology saying I messed up, and I explained why, because I didn't want her to think I didn't care. It was not an "I'm sorry, but" apology. It was an "I'm sorry, I thought X and I was wrong." She misunderstood my apology and thought I attacked her with my explanations. Because it was over text, she had her arguments written down while I still had mine, and everything got messy. Conversation moved quickly from one sentence to another, and things got mixed up. It kept going back and forth. I tried to postpone the argument, and at some point she said something like, "Now I feel like I had valid reasons to crash out. Thanks for confirming my doubts. You really were doing it on purpose." That's when I lost it. I was already running out of patience. It was past 2 a.m. I was wasted, hungry, tired, and not ready. I sent a text that would hurt her feelings. I basically said she wasn't the center of the world, certainly not mine. I brought up that she's the middle child in her family and suffered from a lack of attention growing up, and that this is real life. I told her I don't live my life revolving around what she thinks and feels, and that she already puts herself before anyone else. I know this isn't how you treat a friend, but my blood was boiling. I was frustrated, mad, and offended that after everything I said, her final words were that I did it on purpose, that I didn't want her there. She's the person I'm closest to, the person I've told all my crazy family trauma to, the person I laugh with the most, and the one I've shared the most memorable moments of my life with since we met. I couldn't believe she let the idea simmer in her head that I was the worst friend ever, and that I was avoiding her outside of school and Discord. We see each other every day. I always thought we could openly talk about issues because that's how our friendship felt. Instead of telling me I feel bad that even you don't invite me and that you let Matt tease me about not being there, which would have made me change things immediately, she stayed silent. To me, her issue was with Matt, not with anyone else. With the friend group dynamic we have, you don't even need an invitation. They're there every Friday and Saturday whether you go or not. You just have to show up if you want to hang out. It's a public place. It's a bar. Yeah, and again, low-key, I feel like maybe Matt is just straight up inviting you to come, essentially, by saying that. Like, Meg, where you at? Why aren't you here? Come here. Come.
Yeah.
And then Meg's like, he's making fun of me for not going. It's like, well, why aren't you going? She's like, I don't want to. The morning after the argument, I wanted to talk to her, only to see she had blocked me everywhere. Not a single social media platform was left out. We were both invited to a party that evening at someone's place. I didn't go because I didn't feel well and wasn't ready to face her. I told our friends something personal had come up. Lena then proceeded to tell everyone her side of the story. We had internships, so we didn't see each other for the next 3 weeks. There was another party at a friend's house, and I went because I wanted to celebrate her new home. Lena ignored me the entire night. She didn't say hi and didn't even thank me when I handed her a glass at one point. And by the way, I want to hand you the roadmap to listen to full episodes of stories like this whenever you want. All you have to do is go to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts and search OK Storytime. And that is the roadmap you must follow to our full archive of episodes. And we are coming up to the end of this story. Lena is being annoying. She turned it around on you and was like, yeah, actually, now I know you didn't want me there the whole time anyway. It's like, girl, you got a boyfriend and actively chose to not hang out 9 times out of 10.
You really could have. It's just you're making it like a huge deal because maybe she was hurt. Maybe she did feel excluded, but like this was just not a way to handle it.
Yeah, it's a person who's like, I'm so isolated and alone. And like, I mean, there are people who really deal with it. I mean, I've dealt with it, and it sucks to be isolated and not have. But like, it feels less empathetic when someone's like, "Yo, we're at the bar. Like, where you at?" And you're like, "I'm just alone in my home, and I'm not gonna go." And I don't even know if that's. But it's like, it feels like the same level. Ever since last Monday, we've been back at school. She still won't say hello and can't even look me in the eye. If I say something to the group or ask a question, she ignores me. I feel like she's blocking me in real life. I've heard from other friends that it sucks we're not friends anymore, and I couldn't agree more. I wish we'd had another chance to talk before she cut me off completely. I'm not asking for a second chance. I feel like I stood my ground, even though I messed up and apologized. I can't do much more than that. I just wish we'd had one more conversation the next day to see if it was truly unsolvable or if we could shake hands and move on together. I could talk to her, but I don't want to chase her. If she blocked me everywhere and can't even say hi in real life, and she clearly doesn't want to talk to me, who am I to not respect that? And that is the end of that story. I don't know, man. I think you should tell Matt. I think you should talk to Matt and be more like on the page of like, so what was that? Like, were you just like being like, come out? Like, were you just being like, be our friend, come out to the bar, come here. Not like a, where are you?
Yeah.
Like,
that is weird though that like she didn't text Matt about all of this. She just texted OP, and it's like,
yeah,
like it seemed like Matt was the main issue, but it was like, how dare you be around Matt when he did that thing that was an issue?
Yeah, and this is somehow on you, which is that feels incorrect. And then there was even a comment about how she's like, yeah, maybe I don't want to go to the bar every weekend. And it's like, so then why are you even upset that you're being excluded if you're just like, I don't have the same energy as these people anymore, and I don't want to go there
exactly
all the time.